And with that, Matt, you're on.
Okay. Is that yours? There. Who's got the got it right there? Is that you?
This one?
All right. I feel like I'm batting up right now. That lineup. Like an MIT professor. These other guys. I'm just a sales rep at the end of the day. I don't think that highly of myself, but actually, Professor Frydenberg, when he brought up the idea of speaking here, I was like, I don't think I'm really that smart or an expert in any one thing. And so I don't really know if I'd do it justice. And then I didn't know what I would even talk about. Like, I don't know, mowing lawns or like, what am I good at? Playing ping pong, something like that. But we kind of landed on something that I think I can maybe do a little bit of damage on today. And hopefully you guys leave here. Like, it wasn't just a court ordered community service thing you had to do. It's like something you actually get something out of. So, but I guess first question would be, we kind of asked it before, but how many, show of hands, how many actually have heard of SaaS or know what it means? 2. Oh, you weren't kidding, man. Jeez. Really? Okay. You didn't like see the topic and then quickly Google it? I feel like that's just an innate thing these days.
I Googled it.
Quick Google.
I Googled it before. I didn't like go in depth.
Yeah.
Okay.
And some of it like software, like something computing. I don't know. Or like software as a service.
Yeah.
Software as a service. Like,
Dude, you get double points. Like if there's another one he has to go to, like he doesn't have to go to it. Yeah, it's good.
We'll give you a sticker on here.
Yeah, it's companies that offer software and or other companies, and there are platforms and what they like make to other companies so that they can operate their companies and organizations.
Dude, I'm done here. I don't even have to do this deck. These guys got it. I love that. Look, a bunch of buzzwords, but pretty much what I'm going to talk about today, which is good. So, is that a tutoring session or what's happening? I feel like it's one of those echoes when you're trying to talk on a call. So, okay, one other quick show of hands. Who is not CIS major here? Oh, wow. This is a minor? Yeah. Is anyone here a major? Oh my God. Oh, wow. What are the other majors? Corporate finance and accounting. Oh, dude, sorry. Thank you. What else? What else? Like marketing. Okay. Finance. Oh my God. I'm sorry, guys. Anything finance or accounting. That's all my friends when I went here back in 05 to 09. That was like, in fact, that's me in 05. All bright-eyed, bushy-tailed freshman living in Alder. Anyone living in the trees here? Did a couple. Played a lot of Pong and drank a lot of natties and Keystones. But this is me doing the freshman thing, and this was the computer I had to use. This is what Bentley gave me. It could like you could turn the screen around, and it was probably like that thick and pretty heavy. And at the time I was like, wow, this is cool shit. My cousin who had gone here in like the 90s had like a brick, like a real, like just had to carry around this big machine. So I thought that was cool, but now we're talking like, what do you guys have? Like iPads finally? Yeah, nice. So apparently I also like to wear tight polos back then too. So we've come a long way. This is me now. By the way, Mark said, why don't you talk a little bit about yourself and your experience before you get into the actual topic? So I'm trying to kind of tee that up. I'll get into SaaS. Just give me a second. So I'm 35, graduated in 09, 35. I have 2 girls, both of them blonde. I'm not sure how that happened. My wife and I are dark haired. And I play music. I live in Newton. kind of settled down. I don't really go out or go to bed past like 11 anymore. You'll get there, I promise. I sell software now. I've been doing that for 12 years, and it's everything I'd hoped it would be and more. And it was the CIS degree that got me there. It was actually Bentley that got me there, but the CIS degree, I like to put credit where credit's due. And maybe we can write some of the courses that you guys are on right now, change some minds today, Mark. What do you think? So I'll just rewind a little bit back to 2005. So back when I was starting out here at Bentley, actually, we didn't have, so the Smith Center was here, Student Center, but like, I think there was a whole new gym complex built in the last couple of years, right, down lower campus. So they had just gotten Dodge Chargers for police cars. Like, it was a big time for spending a lot of money at Bentley. And I came in as a management major because I was an entrepreneur, and I kind of I saw management here at Bentley as a way to do something great, get a foundational understanding of business, but like straight out of here, start something. And as soon as I became are you guys all freshmen, or what's the average age here? Okay.
Yeah, yours.
Okay.
18, 19.
18, 19. Back then I was like, dude, that's what I want to do. So in high school, I started a computer repair side hustle. I'm not proud of some of the things I did in high school, but I did sell beef jerky out of my locker in the hallway. I was one of those enterprising youths with a lot of hopes and dreams, and who doesn't want to be their own boss, right? So that was me. I was coming in, I was looking at Bentley and what's that other B school? Babson. Visited Babson. It was definitely not for me. So came here, management degree. Well, like, this will get me going in the right direction. I also saw being an entrepreneur as a way to make a lot of money fast, or not fast, but make a lot of money ultimately. And for me, it was also like a respect thing. Like, if I could start a company and do something great for the world, like, I don't know why I had some sort of complex where I really needed a lot of respect back then. It's obviously different now. But so I started, and I didn't know where or when or what the company would be that I would start. And it kind of I did some thinking, and I realized, like, one day, sophomore year, I woke up and I was like, you know what? What am I doing in a management degree? Who's in management here? Anyone? All right, I'm going to shit on management just a little bit. Management, I was like, okay, what will I do immediately after graduating here with a management degree? Like, become a manager? My first role out of Bentley, I'll be a manager somewhere. So it kind of I started to realize, or come down to earth a little bit, and realized that was just like an absurd way to approach the situation. So I said to myself, look, after taking some classes, meeting people, talking to brilliant professors here, there's a lot more going on outside in the world, outside of Holliston, Massachusetts, where I grew up, outside of Bentley. And I realized, okay, I should probably figure out and have this mindset of finding what I'm going to do immediately after school and then take it from there. I'm going to be laser focused on a career and a role, and then that'll be my foundation for starting a business later on in life, if I even want to still. So it was at that moment when I woke up, that fateful morning, after probably a 20 beer challenge the night before or something, that I'm going to change to CIS. It's not too late. And it was the best decision I ever made. I talked to Professor Friedenberg. I talked to Bill Sciano, still here.
Yes.
And and it was just clear, I like technology. You guys are obviously minoring in it. So, oh, you're not even minoring?
Oh, yeah, it's required for freshman.
Oh shit.
They're taking CS 100, which is first course for.
Okay. Well, maybe I will. I didn't know this context here, so maybe I'll win you some minors too. Okay. So, guys, technology is everything. And SaaS is everything. That's what you're going to learn today. And for me, I kind of realized that early on. That was just always something I had an aptitude for, and I was interested in technology. So why don't I just start there, learn all different things about technology, and then I'll land a job out of here, and then eventually become a manager, eventually start a business, which will probably be technology related. So that's when I made up my mind and I changed. And so I guess I had a question here where I was going to ask people about the CIS major and why you chose it, but that's like only applicable for one of you. So why did you choose CIS?
Because I think for most of the reasons you said, I think technology is like most of the companies in the future will involve at least at some level of technology they already do. But also the ability to be able to code and understand the basics of like how algorithms and these things are made. I think it makes a whole difference in the new business experience.
I'm a CS major too. I'm a junior here at the Sandbox, and I've always loved technology. I was one of those kids growing up that would make their own computers at age 10 and love video games. So for me, in my mind, I didn't have any other options. CIS, kind of easy to read.
So I picked CIS basically because it was quite a complex thought. I thought that basically teams develop tools to help them with many tasks throughout history. And this is our newest tool, which can do so much for us. And I just thought I need to learn how to use this and be good at it.
Dude, brilliant. Going back to like caveman was awesome. Yeah, I had a couple of friends who changed from CFA majors, and it's at first they were like, you know what, I don't want to learn coding. I don't see myself as an engineer. CIS and just technology focused degrees in general are about so much more than coding, and you're going to learn this here. But I took one coding class, maybe two, one database class, and I'm in sales now, and I'm doing everything I could have ever hoped that I would want to do and making the money I want to make. And you can do that. You can make good money in other majors, but it's a shitload more work. And it's a ton more training and schooling. And talking to this guy right here. No, I don't want to just make other majors seem smaller, but like CIS is the foundation for like everything. It's either that or psychology. You can learn psychology. You can go into do anything. Does anyone know what they want to do right after school though? You do. You don't. Good. I can maybe win them. All right. Well, let's see if we can answer some of these questions. So this is a picture of that table over there, I guess. This is the CIS lab, and this is you. Same cardigan.
Same sweater.
Same sweater. One more last selling point on CIS here, and then I'll get into SaaS, I promise. Back when I was making this decision, and now even still, CIS is about 60 kids. The whole program is about 60 kids in a school of what, 4,000 undergrads? 4,000, 5,000? We had a high 90s career placement percentage. Can you back me up on that?
We still do.
Still do. And it was one of the most prestigious CIS programs in the Northeast. Still is. Career days, you guys see this, like companies are salivating over CIS majors. It was insane, and it still is, apparently. So you can always follow up with me or with Professor Friedenberg after to learn more about the major. But let's get into the topic today. This is where I asked the question, what are you studying CIS for? It was 3 kids. And what are you hoping to accomplish with it? So again, if it's anything short of making a lot of money, applying yourself creatively, looking forward to what you do for work every single day, like having that sort of creative expression and excitement in being disruptive and collaborating with people and ideas. If it's anything short of that, ideally, what I'm going to talk about here is going to give you some good context. And that is why you should know what SaaS means before you graduate. And we kind of just loosely defined it already, but I'm going to just clean up the definition a little bit for us. So software as a service. It's a software licensing and delivery model in which software is licensed on a subscription basis and centrally hosted. It's a technical description, but I'm going to break this down for us. SaaS is also known as on-demand or web-based or web-hosted software, and so eloquently put by Wikipedia. Thank you. I'm going to break this down for us, but before I do, I think it's going to be helpful to get into, like, before I get into how it works, why it is, why it's important to you guys, everything. I think it's important to make sure we're on the same page about what software is. I heard some stabs at the definition of SaaS, so I think we should maybe just do a quick crash course here. So you actually might learn this a little bit more in a future talk, but really almost every company, every aspect of every company, every business process, every department, every role is run on software. Okay. We are, like, our entire economy, the whole world, except for some primitive tribe somewhere, like, there are no more calculators, no more abacuses, no more like writing stuff down. I don't think I've actually written cursive since I graduated. Like, it's all software. Companies run on software, and you're going to learn this in a future session. Every company, no matter what industry, is a tech company now. And there's reasons for that. It's a competitive advantage, and you'll learn that. But you guys have all interacted with SaaS products, point of sale system, let's say like Five Guys. What do you have around here? Five Guys? A lot of the things that you interact with on a daily basis on your phone, a lot of apps, whatever's, Netflix, Spotify, Disney Plus, all of these are actually subscription software offered as a subscription, right? But you have all of these different aspects that come together to make a company, and it's all run on top of software and ideas. Everything is software now. And to give you an idea of how dense and just freaking absolute diverse and pervasive the software world has become, this is a snapshot of sales technologies alone in 2021. Each of these is a company, like a recognized company, providing software, SaaS or not, to do things like customer relationship management, CRM. You guys have heard of Salesforce? Thank God. Sales and marketing intelligence, lead handling and prospecting, analytics and reporting, process training, all these different aspects just for like my field alone in sales. Look at how you can't even see any of this. I think there's Salesforce, and I use like 10 of these other ones on a daily basis. It's massive. I'm saying all this to give you guys perspective on what to expect when you walk around those career fairs. You're going to be looking for a job after this, and ideally it's not in corporate finance and accounting. No. And you're going to be using, in CFA, you're going to be using, I don't know, Excel or some advanced softwares on Bloomberg terminals or something. You're going to be interacting with this stuff on a day-to-day basis, and most of it is offered as a subscription, which you're going to find out. Can anyone tell me what this is?
Servers.
What kind?
Computer.
What's your major?
I'm undecided, but I think finance.
This is a data center. You're right. It's a data center. Software isn't just coded and then magically appearing to you on your phone. Okay. Has to live somewhere, it has to be hosted, has to be served to you. There's basically the way it works is there's a set of services, there's a back end, there's a front end, there's different ways to kind of architect it, but this is what used to be in every company's basement. I remember in like the 90s, my dad used to work at Polaroid around the corner, Totten Pond Road, and he would take me down here and crack open a terminal and pull out a computer and like run some scripts on a command line. This is like, the problem here is, well, I'll get into the problem. Here's the solution to the problem. Anyone tell me what this is? Cloud. What is your definition? What do you think the cloud is?
Where a ton of data points run through from like a big server. Like I know like Apple Cloud, I know like all those big tech companies have them. I can't give you like a real definition of it.
No, this is good. This is like, these are all starting points. Anyone else want to take a stab at what the cloud is or what it does?
Stores information visually in another place, so companies don't have to build all these data centers.
Dude.
Servers at the bottom of their companies.
Exactly.
So instead of being access to this data, their access to the internet, so you don't have to have those in your business.
Yes. So there's actually there's a whole set of different kinds of cloud implementations. I'm not going to get into like, so there's private cloud, public cloud, hybrid cloud. Ultimately, cloud computing is the on-demand availability of these resources, like you said, right? So I think I heard data and compute power without direct active management by the user. So for simplicity's sake, and this is important to define before we get into SaaS, because this is what SaaS is basically built on top of. For simplicity's sake, the cloud, so the cloud is basically taken what used to be in everyone's basement, and it's now centralized it somewhere, and it's basically providing everything dynamically as a service in a consumption model. So this allows companies to avoid or minimize like the cost to do anything, right? And they can also stand up and do things faster, much faster. So before, when you had those old data centers, right, you would have to, if you wanted to launch like Spotify, you'd have to build it. And at the same time, or before that even, you'd have to ask your IT team, hey, can you provision like these so that I can host Spotify and serve it up to users? And they would say, yeah, sure. Okay. It's going to cost you like millions of dollars to your own internal IT team. It's going to cost you millions of dollars, and it's going to take us like 6 months because we got to go and buy all this hardware and install everything on it and stand it up. Imagine you're a company and you want to do something like build an app, launch an app, and your own IT team says, well, we need to go buy a new room in the basement so that we can actually launch your app. Like that's what it used to be. And now with cloud, you can essentially instantaneously spin up and spin down the capacity to do this almost immediately. And what the beauty of it as well is not only do you not have to worry about managing it, but you can scale it dynamically based on the demand. So just to break this down for you guys, let's say there's Black Friday's coming up, right? And there's going to be a big spike in people visiting the site and trying to buy stuff. Well, if you did this before in your own data center, you would have to build and provision as many servers as needed for the maximum load you would expect on it, which, as you can imagine, is with a range like sales on Black Friday or one of those Prime days. That would be a ton of wasted resources, a ton of wasted time, a ton of wasted money, and that stuff, those servers would just sit there and wasted energy. So now you can kind of like, you can scale to the demand dynamically. It's brilliant. Okay, another question for you. Does anyone know where Amazon makes most of their money?
Amazon Web Services.
Dude, were you going to say that?
I was gonna say their software, but
Well, the software is a general term. Software could mean I have an Amazon app to buy stuff. That's software. Software actually can mean what John Q, corporate finance and accounting major, who starts working at Amazon, is going to use to do some finance stuff in Amazon. AWS is a lion's share of their revenue. And AWS is one of three main cloud providers in the space. So you have AWS, Amazon Web Services, you have Google Cloud Platform, also known as GCP, and you have Microsoft Azure. Not going to dive too deep in like the landscape. There's Oracles and IBMs and stuff too, but this is sort of like what the modern landscape looks like today. And that'll probably change, Mark, in like what, a couple weeks.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but those of you who take CS 213 here, that's where we introduce you to Azure. That's the web development course,
Still a .NET shop here.
just for Azure
Okay.
in that class. It's JavaScript and HTML and
Oh, nice. Okay.
but they spin up servers to host their websites.
Oh, nice. So, little bit of backstory here. So, I don't want to lose you guys. I'm going to probably just breeze through this. Before cloud computing and SaaS, we had ASPs. Anyone know what ASP is? Application Service Provider. So it was sort of the precursor, but there were a couple of kind of problems with what we had for cloud kind of offerings before SaaS, and that is, number one, these were companies that were not hosting their own software; they were hosting other people's software. I'm going to lose you guys. I really thought the audience was CIS. Yeah. All right. Why is it better? So we have some background now on sort of like mechanically how it's different. Basically, it's all on demand, it's fast, it's dynamic, but why is it better? So this is essentially what the traditional software licensing models, like the landscape, look like for if you were to go and buy in the enterprise any sort of software. You can see here, well, here's the cost we pay. We're going to pay this cost, and then we'll just kind of figure out everything else later. But the problem with the conventional software model was, and these were typically like perpetually licensed, meaning you could buy something and use it forever without needing to renew it. But underneath the surface, tons of costs, soft costs we call them. Not going to get into that either. Man, I really didn't know the audience here. The reason SaaS is so incredibly like pervasive now and has taken over is it's for two reasons. If any of you guys ever go into sales, this is important. Executives at companies were saying, you know what? If I'm going to solve a problem, I'm going to look at two things. I'm going to look at what's the risk to me, my organization. Obviously, what's the gain, but what's the risk, and how predictable is what I would be doing to change from what I am doing now to what I'm going to be doing. How can I predict what's going to happen, right? So, like if it's unpredictable, if it's high risk, if it's obviously if it's costly, those are things that executives are like, dude. There's a saying, no one's ever been fired for bringing in IBM because it's the most predictable thing ever, right? It's the safest thing ever. But here's where SaaS is telling a better story. So when companies are looking at solving a problem, they're looking at the risk. They're looking at the investment needed to make the change. How many man hours does it take to stand this up? What else am I going to impact if I redirect resources away from installing this or whatever, from using this to actually taking advantage of these new tools? How easy is it to scale with me if I grow? Or how locked in am I if I bring it in and I install it and I set up all these, this infrastructure for it? Pretty locked in. Not gonna lie, like I would have to decommission or I don't know, recommission all those servers in the basement. So SaaS provides a way for us to basically click a button. I bought it. Now it's served up to my users. It's right in the web browser. It's also, I'm gonna skip that part. In terms of predictability, it's also the incredible thing here is, have any of you guys heard of what a valuation of a company is? What is it?
Like how much the company's worth.
Yeah. How do they determine a valuation?
Based on cash that you have, sales, inventory, assets, liabilities, that type of stuff.
Yeah, largely speaking, but mostly based on earning potential and revenue, right? So companies are traditionally, if they're selling on-prem applications, right? On-prem software, they're selling perpetual licenses. They are not guaranteed recurring revenue. They might sell support, like ongoing support, ongoing upgrades, whatever. But SaaS companies realize like 10x valuations. You probably heard this because that revenue is pretty much guaranteed year over year, right? So you've heard of like unicorns. If you guys ever want to get a piece of a unicorn, find a company, a nice SaaS company that's that is probably selling 100 million in sales, and they're valued at $1 billion or multiple billions of dollars at this point. And the reason is that's you'll be earning that full value every year. So that's how investors look at these companies. So that's predictability. Also, SaaS also gives a lot more flexibility. So if a company's going to price and sort of sell based on certain kind of features turned on and off, they can also offer a much like lower upfront cost, but it's easier to onboard customers. It's easier to ensure their satisfaction. And if like something breaks, a SaaS vendor can fix a problem for a lot of customers all at one time. They can release like weekly, whereas your IBMs or your typical whatever's would release once a year. So who's like still with me here? I'm going to get into some like interesting shit finally. Okay. Too much background? Maybe. So SaaS tells a better story to your executives. And that's important here because if you're going to go into sales or do anything, like you need to tell the right story to the decision makers. Your wife is a decision maker. You have to tell the right story to your wife or your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. So there's a lot fewer unknowns to selling and using SaaS than there is to traditional software. And it's not just, SaaS is not just enterprise software. Like I said before, I mean, Netflix, Peacock, show of hands, who uses Daily Bible? I'm just kidding. Who uses Hinge? Does anyone here pay for Hinge? Don't raise your hand. eHarmony. I met my wife on OkCupid actually, but I didn't pay for it. It's back when it was cool, 11 years ago. Those are all software offered as a subscription, and believe it or not, Hinge does not have that data center in their basement. They're using probably AWS or Azure or GCP. So why is this all important to you? Hopefully you guys are understanding how pervasive SaaS is out there. When you step out of here and you're majoring in CIS or you're majoring in CFA, you're going to be walking all over it. It's going to be, you're going to use 10 SaaS tools on average per day, every day for your job. It's like a thing, right? You saw that sales tech landscape.
What are some SaaS tools you guys use now, software as a service tools that you use right now, or even better?
Our whole entire 365.
365. Yeah.
Good.
It's all consumption based now. It's all like, give me a monthly fee and I'll give you this, right? Instead of buying it and then maybe it turning into your own shelfware. You bought like, I don't know, something on Amazon and you paid for it once, and then how many times did you use it? A couple times, and then it's shelfware. But companies are realizing people just like want to go to the movies every now and then. So like, here's a subscription, and you can watch these movies on Netflix. It's like, it's bread and butter now. It's how humans kind of operate. So I had another couple of bullets here about CIS majors that I'll skip. I guess the question is, does anyone here, I'm going to skip all this stuff. It's all CIS specific. Okay. Okay. Who here wants to make a lot of money when they graduate? I should just cut right to this slide from the beginning. Okay. So there's a couple tracks you can go into. Actually, there's a lot of tracks you can go into with a technical degree. I shouldn't say technical degree. I should say technology degree. CIS is not computer science. It's not a hyper technical degree. I think it's a good balance of business, technology, and like functional and technical. A lot of people that graduate from CIS will go into engineering. A lot of people who don't still go into engineering. But right out of school, you can make almost 100 grand as an engineer on average. And as a senior engineer, you can make almost 144 grand. And if you go into a management track for engineering, you can make a shitload more, like double that. Look at this. Almost $250,000 just to be an engineering manager now. Depends on the company. But these are like average salaries for SaaS engineers. And there's a lot of different kinds of engineers. Front ends, back ends, full stacks, quality assurance, data. I mean, these are like very real numbers. And there's not a ton more schooling beyond like an undergrad degree to get there. Maybe some certifications, maybe a little bit of studying for the interview, but you guys wouldn't get this either. Yeah. Anyone here interested in sales? Okay. You should be.
Might minor in it.
Minor? Do you offer sales minors now?
Or it's something sales.
A good sales trainings are hard to come by, like finding the right ones. But when you can like apply it, it'll like, because you're already doing it, it'll mean that much more. But so here's sort of like a look at what salespeople make. AE means account executive. That's basically a sales rep. BDR is an entry level role, business development rep. So if you graduate from here and you want to go into sales, you start there, but you will be well on your way to making a lot more only after a couple of years. A sales engineer makes 170 grand. That's somebody who does demos and helps with proofs of concept and stuff. If you can manage a team of AEs, that's what I was doing. A shitload of money in sales, dude, right? Can I get a picture of that and put it up on the on the slide? This is sales and this is engineering tracks, but there's so much more that you can get into in technology. Like you could be a solutions consultant or a system integrator if you're going to work at like Deloitte or Accenture. You could go into technical marketing. I mean, you could do a lot, right? If you, at the very least, minor in CIS, you're going to learn and kind of round out that foundation of exposure to technology concepts that you wouldn't get if you didn't work with like a Friedenberg or a Sciano or a Garfield or a Pepe or whoever else is here from back in the day. I don't even know. You can become head of sales somewhere. Like that's just FU money, they call it. It's crazy. And it's real. And it's SaaS. These are SaaS sales positions. So I guess, I don't know if I convinced anybody to go into CIS here. Maybe you're just exclusively money motivated. Or maybe you would do it because you're, I don't know, interested in not having to deal with spreadsheets and numbers, or I don't know if there's any like potential lawyers here, like dealing with law or whatever else, anybody, accounting. I don't know the first thing about a general ledger, and I'm glad I don't, because the world of technology is like limitless and disruptive, and it requires fast thinking and forward thinking and collaboration. And I don't know how much of that is required by the other disciplines, but underneath it all, a shitload of money and freedom, and really like kind of look that like looking forward to doing what you do, I think is absolutely priceless and invaluable. And that's sort of hopefully what most people who go through the program here ultimately achieve. So I guess thanks for your time, guys. Listen to me rant for a little bit. I'll take questions.
Did you get an internship when you were here? Where'd you go?
Freshman year, I started at Boston Scientific. I was doing project management, and it was boring as hell. It's really boring. Some IT, some project management, like it's a lot of documentation. That was not my jam. Trying to wrangle people to do testing and gather requirements and whatnots. Some people will appreciate being an analyst, it's called, business systems analyst, whatever. But yeah, I think I was able to pay off school. It's different then. It's probably like, I don't know, half the cost that it is now. What is it now?
So,
Oh my God.
yeah, like how?
Yeah, it's like, it was like low 50s, I think, when I was coming here. But yeah, it was, I worked the entire time I was here, pretty much. You
Freshman,
looking for an internship?
actually.
Yeah, I mean, don't start, you can't start early enough with the stuff like that.
Other questions?
So like for your career path, like similar much, what's like the work-life balance, like as far as like, you know what I mean? Cause like, that's one of the things I'm hesitant about, is going into something that's like super demanding, where you don't really have life outside of work.
So, not gonna lie, all of my friends here, except for like 3, were accounting and CFA and finance majors. And for like the first 3 years, we lived in Oak Square in Brighton. After here, you're gonna live in Brighton, Southie, or like one of those. They were studying for their, what's that called? CPA?
Yeah.
Dude, the amount of studying and work, and then like on top of it, busy seasons. Are you aware of those?
Oh yeah.
Dude, busy seasons where up until, basically the close or just after the close, a lot of like audit and accounting and all that stuff. They were working like, I don't know, 80, 100 hours a week. And I'm working like 40, 45, maybe 50 hours a week on a really challenging week, and making more than them. And some sales jobs, you're asking about sales specifically?
Yeah.
Some sales jobs, you're out in the field and you have to, you put in a lot, and you can make a lot, you can make more than like what I make, but it's, I work about 40, 45 hours, and I have enough time for my kids, and I play bass, and I do home improvement around the house. That's real. And, I've always had that balance. So you can find it. Definitely.
Anybody online have questions to ask? Wants to join us? If so, please unmute and share. And for everybody else who's in here,
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, I've put a QR code up on the screen so we can grab that, and before you leave here, that's your attendance for the day. The short survey on the form. Other questions for?
Are we enrolled in Edmund Plus?
Are you? you know if you want.
Yeah.
You'll learn. Bentley Plus is a program that the university sponsors that helps you learn about soft skills. And you'll be learning about that in your Discovery Seminar this week or next week. And the topics of next series are part of that because like coming here, you get to work on soft skills like asking questions and learning about problem solving and issues around identity. Because you can hear speakers like that say, I can see myself do that. And stuff like that. So that's why I had that question.
Yeah, so, like I said, I'm kind of interested in the marketing field of that, but I also like the sales aspect of it. I like talking to people, I find it better than maybe just sitting on behind Excel or something like that. So I know you're not marketing specific or anything like that, but do you know anything further about that or have friends or something?
Yeah,
In the SaaS field, I should say.
yeah. You might actually be hearing from a marketing VP, right? Somebody,
Later on.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can
When-
definitely check that out.
yeah, come to the session on all companies are tech companies by Bob Webness in a couple weeks.
Marketing is a massive discipline, right? You could be talking about real like data-driven concepts, social media.
Yeah, I know there's all different
Yeah,
everywhere.
I think I've seen a lot of people who started in sales move to marketing and vice versa, because there's like, at the end of the day, it's data and psychology. So you can really, with a tech degree, a technology degree, related degree, you can kind of build on like some of those core foundational concepts. When you go into marketing, you're going to be probably interacting with marketing operations tools, learning how to like really deal with data, right? Like these are concepts that you'll probably learn in the marketing major too, but having a CIS kind of underpinning underneath, I think is going to help you out a
That
lot.
would benefit me more than just a straight.
Yeah.
marketing.
The other thing a lot of people think is that if you get a degree in computer information systems, you're gonna be sitting at your desk coding all day and not talking to anybody. This is a prime example, that's not the case. And even if you go into development jobs or consulting jobs, or there's a lot of time you might be coding, or you might not, or working with people who do, but there's a lot of different options in that way.
You know, and just to build on that, like I didn't come full circle on the whole entrepreneur thing. Going into sales, just to tie off on this, I'm the CEO of my own business inside a business. So this is why I like sales so much, is it's not just the earnings potential, it's I can choose what my work-life balance is going to be. I can choose how applied I'm going to be and really like build my own micro business and run it how I would like and apply that creative aspect to it. If you go to work in accounting and you're doing your CPA or whatever, sorry, dude.
You don't always have to go through your CPA.
You know, I guess like a discipline of accounting or finance, it's mostly you're coming in and like preparing and fixing, but there's not a ton that I could tell of creating. I could be wrong about that, but that's the sense I got with my friends. All my best friends were like that one in the beginning, like CPAs or whatever, but busy season, all those things, it's like they are following rules, just rule followers. And they work a ton and they bash their head against the desk because it's 100 hours and they're not getting recognized, they're not getting paid per hour. So it's like their hourly, the first like several years out, their hourly rate is like $10 an hour. It's like, it's brutal. And they're not creating anything. So if you're cool with that, then do it. But if you want to express yourself and run your own, business, it doesn't have to be sales. Like marketing, you get in, it's like you're gonna look at a set of problems and then solve them creatively, right? There's less rules, and I hate rules. So that's just to kind of round that out. And you're right. I touched code in CS 380 or whatever, and I haven't touched it really since. And I don't need to. Yeah.
How are your friends doing now though?
Finally having kids. Eventually, like, they kind of didn't have any more busy seasons or whatever. But like, I had one friend who eventually became partner at Deloitte, but like, it took her. Imagine working for how many years has it been? I don't know, 15 years or whatever. Like, traveling to clients and doing closes and whatever's every week, and it's like 80, 100 hours a week. And she was so stressed, like they couldn't even have kids. Not that you guys are talking about kids at all right now, but you will eventually. And you want to have a work-life balance. And she wasn't. And she probably just really only started to, like 10 years in. So, dude, now is the best time of your lives. Now through like, mid to late 20s, like, I mean, even 30s, but don't waste it. I'm not saying accounting is a waste. I'm saying it's a lot of work and it's a lot of rule following.
Whatever career you choose, and you don't have to, you're lucky you don't have to choose a career now, and you don't get into college for 7 weeks.
Sometimes I forget that.
Oh, you guys are like recently high schoolers. Jesus.
I'm like 18.
Yeah, so you got plenty of time, and the best thing you can do while you're here is listen to people from lots of different programs, so you can explore your interests and hear their stories, because one day you might come back here and be up on the other side of the street, and that'd be really cool. So best thing you can do is listen to all these stories, because that's not what you're not going to get this in the chapter about careers and technology in your textbook. These are real. The best thing that we can do is bring in Matt and the other speakers this semester, to give you a chance to learn about something, and also learn about their stories and how they got where they are. And hopefully, by hearing them, you can say, I can do that. Whether it's in this department or in the accounting department. Well, I like this department better, so I teacher. Or any other department on campus. The best you can do is listen to their stories and figure out which ones resonate with you. And that's where you should spend your efforts and your interests. And also choose a career that is going to get you a job.
Yeah. It's a weird world out there. Oh, you guys aren't part of like the lost COVID generation, are you?
You guys will spend your junior year
At the software.
it's just off here at home. Isn't it great with you this time here? Without masks on.
Gives me PTSD already. Never even know that.
I'm glad you're asking first. So as folks drop off, please make sure you fill out this order before we go. And I just have a couple questions, some questions for you guys. And that is, what's your take home message from today? Unless if you're gonna walk out of here and somebody says, what did you learn at this topics and tech thing? Whether it's about SaaS or about Matt's story, what's one thing that you're gonna remember?
I would just say more than anything, stay open-minded. Like you said, like you didn't back be around this route initially in college, right? Like us, like we've only been in college for 7 weeks. So I think it's a good lesson to stay open-minded, be willing to change. That seems like something here. But don't be scared to take risks and change.
Thank you.
I was gonna say explore opportunities here. I think just try to take as many different courses as you can to understand what you like. That's
Good.
Yeah, I like that the work and life balance is, achievable and manageable and it can happen. So,
SaaS is everywhere,
That's true.
not just.
And my last reminder is that some of your teachers may require a photo of you to know you were here. So this is your time to like stand up, turn around, take a selfie before you go.
Okay.
And any other comments?
Happy to talk more about sales, tech sales. If you guys are, if anyone's interested. Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm up there.
Spell Matt's name with LinkedIn and stay in touch that way. Thank you all for coming out today.
Thanks, guys.